see if we are live. Okay. Go ahead and say something, Ashley.
Hello, how are you?
One more time.
Hi, my name's Ashley.
I'm gonna ask you one more time. I'm so sorry.
Okay, hi, how are you?
That's still kind of like, okay. Yeah, I don't know why. Let me see. Okay, go ahead and say something. Nope. Nope. I don't understand what.
I need to yell as loud as I possibly can.
No. Let me see. Okay, say something now.
Hi, how are you? Did it work?
It's still kind of grainy on your end.
Oh, I changed it to a default microphone. I
Yeah,
don't know what else to do.
I don't know if maybe. Okay. All right. Let me check and see if maybe it's through the OBS software that.
What if I turn off the noise?
Okay. Well, we're still kind of figuring this out. Oh, let me see. Let me see. Okay. Ashley, why don't you just talk while I go ahead and maybe figure out if something. That way, once something happens, maybe that helps to kind of go ahead and
Okay, so where were we? We're at... Where are we on this?
Borgenhalla, leaving Borgenhalla.
No, we're not. Oh, wait, are we starting over?
Yeah, because that technically didn't go through. So if
Oh,
we.
okay, so now I gotta go back. Hold on.
You're fine.
Hold on, because I was at the mains. I was all excited about the mains.
Me too.
Hold on, I gotta. Yeah. So okay, wait. No, right, not there. Um, we left Oregon Hollow. Where are we? Next station. Okay, so when we left Oregon Hollow, our no, hold on. I gotta look at my notes. I wasn't prepared to go back in time.
No, you're fine. I think it's in the OBS software.
Are
Let
we
me
at the
double check.
point that, so we left Borgin Hollow, we are on the road, and we see that, as I wrote it down, the weird Australian hillbilly dude.
Yeah.
um, and talking about some daddy long legs with faces, and possibly a red river that has blood, and giant undead, and all this stuff. Um, and we're like, okay, this dude's a little crazy. However, um, I'm gonna try again. Hold on one second. You know what we didn't, something that we didn't talk about in the last stream, even though we erased it, was the fact that there was a cave. Do you remember there was a cave, and we saw a blue tiefling run into it. We ended up figuring out that it was Cherry's sister.
We did mention that, to be honest.
I know, but we deleted that stream, so I'm going back to it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so, and we, I'm not sure what the right spot here. Yeah, so then we encountered encounter um, the Azamar, which is Asbardahan and Sherry's sister there, and then they disappear pretty quickly. And then that's when we see the matriarch spider with all those faces.
Yes, that
But
spider that basically had like the faces of just people, and it was just constantly like screaming. Like it was a mutated spider that basically was like, sorry, I have my eyes closed because I'm still kind of picturing it, but it was basically like made up all over its body, just all these different like not human heads, but just basically humanoid heads, and they're all kind of like stretching out a bit, kind of going ahead and trying to like it's very off-putting for reason.
right, um, but we also Cherry's sister also keeps telling him to stop following her. But of course, he is not going to listen because he wants to, you know, see her and rescue her
Yeah.
essentially, and we're with him. So um, we end up making camp at some point, and he's a wolf, and I think he's still a wolf. Was he a wolf because he wanted to be for the watch, or is he a wolf because he turned into one during the spider thing?
Can you repeat
'Cause I
that?
don't know.
What?
So when we make camp and Catechus and I take first watch, he is a wolf in wolf form. That's why I wrote down. And he
Who is in
notices
wolf
it's a wolf.
form?
Catechus. Because I think he turned into a
Oh,
wolf
that's
when
right.
he
He
was the
does. I
spider.
forgot about that. Yeah, because he was just a little bit paranoid.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because it was a full moon too. He notices it's a full moon.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and then on second, I don't have a ton of notes on this part. On second note, second watch, I guess he's still watching. Um, but he sees a 50 to 70-foot shining glimmer east of where we are. So would that be towards Veralanid?
The all of this is before Veralanid,
Correct.
yes.
Right. Yeah. So, but is that what? So if it's east of where we are in the camp right now, that would be like towards Veralanid, right? The shining glimmer that he sees.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map right now. I apologize. I'm still trying to figure out the sound situation. I promise. I am listening to you. I kind of have to. Not because of that reason. Just because of the fact that like it's yeah, it's just it's weird right now. Okay, let me see. Maybe I got something. We can just go through Twitch. All right.
Want me to keep going?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
Okay.
know. Yeah, yeah.
Was it that morning? Because I know what's his face, the grizzled old dwarf dude, Drew's character. He went with us when we left Bergenholla, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
He
after
did.
this night, he goes off and disappears, and we just kind of
Because he took some
leave without him, and
shrooms.
we're like, oh, goodbye.
He like took well,
Well,
the world's
he was
kind
more
of
of a liability than us, so that's why.
yeah, it was very much like he took some shrooms and or this version's world of shrooms and just kind of wandered off. And I think Remus
Right.
was kind of watching him and going like, "Where is he going?" And I think you guys were just like, "Let him go. Just let him
Just let
go."
him go. I haven't seen him since. Um, so the next day we come to a farmhouse. We notice that it's probably been there a long time, and that maybe that there's somebody inside.
Yeah, this is
Um,
where you guys fought the
this is
scarecrows.
when Catapult and I go and kind of like look around the building, the cabin farmhouse area. Um, uh, Catechus kind of walks around. I think he walks around towards the back, right? And then I decide to go to the door. Um, we find out that it's a human man, middle-aged, more, what is it? M-O-G-R-U-R.
Let's see.
Mogwai?
I wrote his name down. I have it in my notes. Um,
You know, it's her bad at names.
Aaron is the Air Genasi that's with him. Where did I put this guy's name? I have his name. Yeah,
Morgul?
Morger. Morger.
Morgul.
I think I even
Um,
mentioned this last time. It was one of those moments where I'm like, what did I even write for?
we find out that he was born in Veralanid, and um, that he essentially escaped Veralanid. Um, and then at some point we encounter the scarecrow with red eyes. No, there's scarecrows around his property, right? And
Yeah,
the
there is. There's
scarecrow with
scarecrows
red
in
eyes
his
comes to life in front of Catechus, because Catechus is not by the door. I'm at the door with the guy, and Catechus, I think, is around either the side or the back at some point.
Yeah,
And
Catechus is
it
the one
comes
that
to life in front
essentially initiates battle because he's kind of like, let me go check to see what's back here.
right, right. So Scarecrow with red eyes comes to life in front of Catechus, and then we end up beating 3 scarecrows total. Um, that was a fun little fight. Um, okay, so then after the fight, we have a tallish blue humanoid ends up being Morgar's grandson. He comes in, and that's Aaron. And right?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's a Genasi.
Yes, Aaron.
And then all that I wrote down after that is that we get a. Do we get the book? Do we already have this book, or do they give us the book for all your dreams to come
You
true?
guys found it. You guys found it in that cave when you went up against that chimera, and there was like a little bit of a room. Remember, because you guys activated like a poison gas in there. I think it was Catechus that might have activated it. And there was just gas in there, and I think he used Thorn Whip to grab it and get it, but you guys couldn't read it because it's the different Genasi languages, and I mean it just was completely blank. But all you could see was the cover that said, "Oh, may all your wishes come true," or "May all your dreams come true," and you'd given
Right.
it to or Aaron. I don't know how it got into Aaron's hands, but he was like, "Oh yeah, these pages here. I mean, this I can see these chapters. I think 6 through 10 were what they were." And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, there's some chapters in here." And you guys were like, "Oh, how can you read that?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. I can." And so you guys asked him to translate it for you, and he did. He went ahead and translated. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and actually, let me see, put in because I did go ahead and add in all the different pages that most of the pages on our Discord. And there's the link right there for at least the current link for Discord that should have that on there. It also has our pictures of the characters, updated pictures that we updated, I think, about a month ago. Um, so yeah, it was just it. I even mentioned this last time, but I mentioned this to you before we started streaming and talking about this. Just how much fun I was having during that time because we have like a 2 hour, or you used to at least, but I still do have like that 2 hour
Mm-hmm.
lunch break because they take naps, and so that's incorporated in there. And during
So
that
instead of
time,
working,
huh?
I'm kidding. I said so instead of working, that'd be
Hey,
something.
now, you and I both know that I am a
I know.
workaholic and that was
Mm-hmm.
probably the much deserved break I needed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I was just going ahead and writing out all these different things, like the different ways to conjure up a djinn, and the different ways to go ahead and get these spells. Not only what you might need, but the things you might say or the things you might need to do. Um, so there's that, and then I hadn't finished how to bring about like air elementals because this was more air genasi. So it's more related to like air spells and all that kind of stuff. So
Right. Oops.
yeah. And so then yeah, gave those to Nathan later on, but you guys spent the night there. You also found out that um now I gotta look back and see what his name was again. Morger.
More on.
Yeah, he was from Veralanid. He's actually the only
Right.
person to have ever really kind of escaped from Veralanid. And
Mm-hmm.
so he was basically talking about how he did it. You know, the idea that Veralanid is, and I told you this, how I got it from the idea of it from like Attack the Titans, I believe it was, where it's
Mm-hmm.
you've got this castle in the center, which is where the castle of that Crimson is living in. She's in that center castle, and then on the outside, outside of the wall of that is the noble area, and then outside of the wall of that, because there's a huge, massive wall that goes up above it, um, and or I shouldn't say up above it, but just goes high up, and then there's the outer one where of that one where it's the not pretty much the peasants, and so
Right.
it's a very populated area. And then
The slums.
surrounding that is the forest, where some of the vampire spawns live, the very feral kind of vampires. So there's just all sorts of stories that are told about not going into the forest because of the fact that it's very dangerous on the outside world, and Crimson protects them. So, we don't want to go ahead and go out there. I mean, she's warned us that going out there brings death and stuff, and so he and a few people left, and they decided, let's venture into the forest and see. And they went through, and he just kept running. I mean, he had heard bites and blood sucking happening and screams, and he was just like, just got to keep running. So yeah, so his was very much like a very sad story, because I mean, he's a survivor, but he also had to hear people kind of the people that he left with just essentially dying as he ran, knowing at the same time too that there was nothing he could do.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
You just went through all that. What did I just see that I was going to say? Oh, to note too that we were also told that it takes a few hours to get through that forest before you hit the slums part
yeah, yeah,
of the city.
it does. It's a
So
massive forest.
we do hear and encounter. Well, we don't necessarily encounter. We didn't encounter any of the vampires or anything in the forest, but we could hear things, right? I think we were stealthy enough that we could hear
Well,
things
Catechus
happen.
encountered some of the
Oh,
vampires just because he was trying to
well,
sneak through with Nala. Um, and he was in wolf form, and he was just kind of going through, and he was being sneaky enough. He was seeing a lot of them just kind of like either just talking, or just going ahead and biting into like rats and all sorts of different forest creatures that they could potentially find. And at one point, I think he like ended up going ahead and needing to take like a piss, and when it was a stealth check to see if they could smell it or not, he didn't pass, and they could smell it, and they were like, "What the hell is that?" Right after it, and he was like, "Oh shit, oh shit!" So yeah, he and
mm,
Nala ran into the to the town, and the first thing that he saw was that little girl,
a
and the
child.
little girl
Yep.
started screaming because this wolf was running after. And in Catechus's mind, always in Catechus's mind, he feels like he's helping, and doesn't understand that sometimes things don't turn out the way that he planned it. And so he thought, okay, well, let me help this girl and grab her by the nape of her neck and get her out of harm's way. And what ends up happening is she's screaming even more. So he's like, forget it. Like, people are starting to come out. He's like, forget it. And so he and Nala run to a tree. He changes back into his human form. And then this was the point where he goes to throw on the invisible cloak, and Nala's natural 20 covers her, but his natural 1 does not. So
Right.
as they come in, um, yeah, that he has to end up starting to fight them, and you guys end up following because you're like, this is taking too long.
Mm.
Um, so I know that was that was certainly something that as soon as you guys went through, you were like, where the hell is he? Like, there's so many people go. It's havoc. It's crazy. It's all this shit's happening. Where's Catechus? And this massive tidal wave just goes over behind buildings, and you guys like, there he is.
There he is.
There's Catechus.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just
Um,
it was funny.
at some point, though, after we find him, we end up in a house, right? Because Crimson and
Yeah,
two vampires are
yeah.
coming towards us.
Because Anubis comes up and he's disguised,
Right.
and he goes ahead and says like, come with me, and everything. And I think Catechus got like the sense that maybe this was Anubis, and he asked, and he was like, yes. And he just had you guys follow him to that house, and the house had that little like basement that you guys went into, and then yeah,
Yeah.
Crimson entered in.
Under the trapdoor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Crimson and two vampires come in, and of course, our lovely friend Mercy decides to go up there, right?
Yes. She's
And
like, well,
because,
let me get Crimson.
yeah, she wants to be her friend.
Yeah. Crimson's and they're besties. She just doesn't know it yet.
No, she's never gonna know it. And yeah, that's all I have for that one. What else? Did we fight? We didn't fight them. We fought them.
Yeah, you guys fought. You guys fought.
Sorry,
Um,
that's all I took for notes for that. All I said was Crimson Bride and two vampires in the house. We are down under a trapdoor. That's all I wrote.
yeah. Basically what happens, if you remember, is it's an illusion that Crimson has gone ahead and placed, making it seem as if though it's her. And then
Right.
she goes ahead and no, it's Mercy. Mercy goes ahead to like stab her in the back, and
Mm-hmm.
it just goes straight through.
Okay, through.
And then
Yeah.
that's when Crimson turns around and she's like, oh, there you are. And then the fight starts. You guys have the goal of just running. The plan was to just run,
Mm-hmm.
which is why Cheery goes straight into the forest and just runs into the forest and up a tree. Like he was like, this is
Mm-hmm.
the plan. I can do this. Um, you guys got caught up with the other two vampires and Crimson. And she
Right.
actually turned out to be nearby. She, if I remembered, she bit into Catechus, drained
Mm-hmm.
him of his life, then brought him back to life again from
Right.
unconsciousness because she was just like,
Right.
this is so much fun. This little cat and mouse game. I love playing with you
Right.
guys. And she did
Doesn't
this.
she do the same for Remus too?
Yes, I was just about to say she did the same for Remus. You guys were running into the forest together, and she just came up, like just appeared, grabbed him, and drained him as well in front of you, and then like brought him back from unconsciousness, just smiling the whole time at you while that was happening, or at Alicia. And so he was a bit weak, and so you kind of went ahead and brought him
Yeah.
into the forest to kind of hide for a bit. Um,
Right.
Anubis was not fully prepared as a wizard to go ahead and fight as much because a lot of his spells that he had prepared were more so for disguising and for kind of like keeping himself hidden because he was still kind of going ahead and getting information, trying to figure more out. He was trying to be stealthy, and the one thing the liabilities are not is stealthy.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. I mean, my score technically, my modifier is, but my rolls are not. Always.
Yeah.
So we fight them, and then we go mansion. I mean, the house, and then makes the mansion thing.
Yeah,
Because we
so
learned,
that,
this is where we learned about how, like, as Bardahan was on the council
yeah,
and had a partner but doesn't anymore and all that stuff.
yes,
Or the
there's
women council, I'm
a
sorry.
lot of lore that gets dropped here. Well, it gets dropped the next morning, um, because you guys rest,
Right.
just because of the fact that you guys had just fought a battle. Two of you had gone into unconsciousness. Then you guys had to go look for Cheery too, who was up in a tree. And he was a little bit hesitant about coming down. I don't remember who went to go get him and said something that made him go, "Oh, okay, it's okay." Yeah,
I did. I
yeah,
did. Or at
okay,
least
yeah.
I did.
And then yeah,
And
so
it's been a running joke ever since. We're always like, oh, you're gonna go run up a tree? You're gonna go run up a tree, Jerry?
yeah,
Every time. Because he says, he's squishy. He can
yeah,
die
he
very
he
easily.
did he did say that. He's like, I'm squishy. Like, if anything else, I'm looking out for myself. Like, I'm not gonna go ahead and
Right.
risk my life just because. Like, he's gone unconscious a few times, and he's like, I don't want that to happen again. Like, you guys can go unconscious, but not me.
Right. Right. Um,
Yeah,
you're getting all blurry again, just so you know.
yeah, I know, I know,
Okay. Just making sure.
I can see it.
Um, and then, yeah, Annabis wants to talk to Flora. Oh, and we find out that Cherry's sister's name is Esmeralda.
Which she calls Emmy, short.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
the next morning it was kind of a bit difficult just because Catechus was a little bit pissed off, just because of
Yeah.
the fact that like he thought like Anubis was going ahead and doing all this stuff. Like, this was the person he was looking for, and he was just like pissed that one, he essentially went unconscious. He basically was dying, and he did not like that. That was his first time ever really kind of dying, and so,
Mm.
which is not going to be the last time either. Um, but
Nope. Nope.
but yeah, he was already kind of a bit pissed about that, and then he was like, he hasn't done anything. What the hell has he been doing? And so he was lashing out at Anubis. Mercy was like, I'm not all that impressed with him. Powerful wizard, my ass. Um, which, oh wow, I'm real blurry.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
It's probably
Um,
a network issue.
let's see. Let me try this. Okay, try and go back in. Anyways, I'll just keep talking because this is going really great. um, let me see.
Not only are our characters liabilities, but so are we. No, I'm just
There
kidding.
we
I'm
go.
just
All
kidding.
right. I changed the quality of the video. Okay.
Okay.
Um
Actually, okay.
so anyways, yeah, so he was really pissed. He was lashing out at him. And Anubis was angry just as well. They were both also pretty hungry too. So they're
Mm.
getting a bit hangry. And yeah, then he kind of explained, this is where he drops to that you guys are kind of like liabilities.
Yeah.
Anubis was pissed as well. He was like, you guys literally ruined my operation. Like, I've
Yep.
been here for quite a bit of time trying to figure out how to take this woman down, and you guys come in all guns a blazing, or all spells a blazing essentially, and just ruined everything.
Typical. Typical of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, you guys are not really all that stealthy. So yeah, he was like, you guys are like liabilities right now. You are
Yeah.
liabilities right now to me.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
so so yeah, he did drop a bunch of lore about the four different gods. This is where it got brought up about Meridia and the three different
Yeah.
champions that um and this is where you learned a little bit more, or at least you learned a little bit more about that, just because her dad
Mm.
is one of the chosen champions.
Yep.
Um, and then I think this is where you guys meet, if I remember. Where is
You meet
she?
Flora, who is Annabis's friend. She's also a vampire. Um, but she's a good, if you will, a good vampire in essence.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say
Um,
this is where you guys meet Cecilia too,
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
because she's the one
Yeah.
that talks about Meridia.
Right, right. We also learn a little bit more about Crimson too. trying to think, and we've mentioned that before.
Yeah. You guys learn about the gods and their war to like one. Or they're the four. These four gods that were mentioned before, because there are more than just the four. But like Malar, Yesmar 3, Bihazer, and Meridia have this like um, this desire to take over the world, which you guys later find out that's not really true, fully true for Meridia. She's just very protective.
Yeah.
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 So she's just very protective of her creatures. And that's the only reason she ever got involved in that war that happened hundreds of years ago. Because her creatures were getting killed for no reason amongst, well, these sea battles. And so, yeah, so she was just like, no, fuck that. Um, but you also find out within this war that how these gods came about, like by Hazer and Malar and Yasmar 3 were born within the blood and the death of that war.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, he shares that. Catechus gets some therapy.
Yes, he does. In his room.
And you do
He's
meet
conjured
that.
up. His therapy is conjured up.
You do meet the vampire too. Um, that you were talking about.
The what?
The
Oh,
vampire you were
Flora.
talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, we meet Flora. Her parents are still around, and she sees her parents every once in a while, but she essentially does not agree or doesn't believe that what's going on is okay. So she has, in essence, befriended Annabis and is willing to help us out and give us information, be our like inside person if need be. So we also meet the doll named Robert.
Oh my gosh, Robert.
He reminds me of like a little butler. He essentially was.
I mean, he was kind of like, I don't know, like I kind of had him like be like kind of like this like mob kind of doll
Yes.
where yeah, where he's just like kind of like, all right, here's the deal. We're gonna go ahead, do a heist, and then we're gonna do it on the night of the red moon. And you guys are like, all right. Like I even put on
Yeah.
like heist music for you guys too. And you guys, I remember Fahad was like, yeah. This was before we knew about Fahad's fear of dolls.
Right.
He
Right.
was fine with
Right.
Robert because I think Robert was just kind of this comical kind of character, and he was like, "Okay, I'm fine with this one."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We also learned, we also learned who essentially is in Crimson Bride's council.
Mm.
So we already knew about, no, we did not. Sorry, never mind. So we learned that, you can do the invitation. We already learned that Andres is Crimson's husband, and that he does what when he speaks?
He speaks in third person. Andras. Andras likes to go ahead and do this. Andras loves his wife. Andras is going into the bedroom.
To get ready for his wife.
Oh
um,
my gosh.
she also has four ladies in waiting. Echo, Mina, and I crossed off the other two. I can't read it. Vera, right? Echo, Mina, Vera, and I don't know the other one. Jade. Did I
Yeah.
do that right? Okay.
Yeah.
She has four guards. Narcissa, Wilfred, Serafina, and Edvardo is the head guard. And then there's also Norbert, Lavina, and Novolio. I love that name.
Malvolio, yeah.
I love that name, Novolio. So that's all who's on the Crimson Bride's Vampire Council, if you will.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think I mentioned this last time that Drusilla is like her right hand woman essentially. But you guys didn't find out. I mean, spoiler alert: she dies. But there's not going to be any backstory found out about her anymore because of that. So, basically, Drusilla was someone that that Camila knew from Adina Leto, because
Right.
she's from Adina Leto, and that's where she met Drusilla. Drusilla was she had a hard time growing up, not being able to control her impulses and her urges. So Drusilla was someone who had actually assaulted essentially Camila. And so Camila, in defense, had bit her and had
Mm-hmm.
turned her into a vampire essentially. And because she is the prime vampire that's in control, she, was able to essentially have this control over Drusilla. And Drusilla, being a Drusilla starts to go manic over the years because of the fact that
Right.
she's when this isn't what she wanted in life, which but that that's uh that feeling of getting older and never dying just kind of mentally got to her, and so she
Mm-hmm.
started to enjoy this craze of like being the she was already kind of a demented, twisted person anyways to begin with. Just adding in the fact that she became a vampire, the change in the life, she essentially just became even more so of a like just demented person who really did even more so did not care about other people's feelings, which pops up later on when you guys do have to go ahead and include her in your party for a bit. So
Right.
yeah.
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 And we quickly got rid of her. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Catechus and Mercy got
Again, plan does not get well thought out before you guys do stuff.
No, no,
Which is
we'll get to
perfectly
that.
fine. It is perfectly fine. It gives good stories. It makes for good stories. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, so yeah, then we kind of just think of a plan as far as like we're all going to go kind of scope things out. Laura is going to help us in terms of scoping things out at Crimson Bride's mansion.
yeah.
Landis gives us these little earrings that we can use to talk to each other that we all still have in our ears.
I
So we always think about it. We never use it.
yeah, I actually I don't think I mentioned this to you last time, but like I was actually listening to I think around this time I was starting to listen to campaign 1 of Critical Role, and they had like the little earrings of sending that they would use, and
Um,
I was like, this sounds really cool for like a heist situation. Let me see if there's a homebrew. There was all sorts of different homebrews of them, so I was just like, all right, cool, this is cool, this is great for a heist to just be like, all right, I'm in this. Yeah, exactly. And you guys keep forgetting that you have them too.
yes, yes. And every once in a while when I'm looking through my inventory, I'm like, oh yeah,
Oh
oh
yeah.
yeah.
I think you guys do that with us.
I think we did use it once within the last like couple, so many months or whatever. Because I was like, oh yeah, I could talk to them for a little bit. That was it. Like, yeah, I think Catechus and I did at one point, but yeah. Um, we learned a little bit from Flora, I think, too, about what the ceremony all entails.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of, inviting all the humans, right? Or all the regular folk to or not all regular, but a bunch of them to the castle, or the mansion, castle thing, and how there's always like a wedding,
Mhm.
and that we also learned that there's the way that the mansion is set up, we learned that on their first floor, how many guards are essentially there, so that way we can watch out for them. And do you want to, I don't know if I want to explain that.
So that whole idea with the wedding, because I went ahead and like I got the idea of Crimson Bride. Obviously, if for people who play Magic the Gathering are probably pretty aware of the Crimson Bride. And originally, her name in that lore is Olivia, but I wanted like a little bit of a different name. But I did take a little bit of that lore from it, where she would go ahead and kind of feast on them. Which Crimson Bride is actually, whenever I do play Magic with my husband, she's actually the commander I use, which
Oh,
Fahad has played up against me like with. that, and he's like, that deck is evil, and I'm like, yes, little forest mouse it is. he he did the same exact thing that he always does whenever like Crimson comes up. He was like looking at that deck and that commander card, and he was just like.
Oh, God.
Reverend always, he will hate Crimson Bride. I think because of me.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Which,
Do you want to explain then? I can go. I want to talk about like what we find in the mansion, but I think it's important too that we kind of explain what that ceremony is.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah.
you can explain. You know more of that what happens.
Um, Basically, with that ceremony, it's like it's a way for everything about this town is a way for people to feel like one, they're protected, and two, that they have a chance to potentially go up from in life. And so sometimes people are brought in to the nobility homes, and get a chance to kind of raise their families there. And then often what happens is that, there's like usually like some kind of an arranged marriage, within those nobles, a lot more so. And they get brought in, you get married, and then usually what ends up happening is like Crimson goes ahead and gives them a proposition, like either you can go ahead and turn into vampire, or we just feast on you. And so, this is where we kind of learn that the
So she
vampire, you
lets them
guys,
know.
huh?
She lets them know.
Yeah, she's just like, well, because think, you have to remember the vampire that you guys talked to. The reason why she's there and she is the way that she is because of the fact that she was one of the ones that was
Right.
propositioned and was basically told like, hey, you can go ahead and become a vampire. She was just in fear, just said yes because she didn't want to die, but her husband said no, and she watched as he was like completely
Right.
just
Right.
killed, and she just was bit and became one, which is why she doesn't want this life. She had so many regrets, which is why she's helping you guys out.
Does the ceremony? Another question, like just to clarify for myself. Does the ceremony always happen during the red moon, or does it only? It just happens every like all every week, every so often. Like
Every
when does
so
it usually?
often, but they certainly tried to have one on the red moon just because of the
Okay.
fact that that's like a big feast for them. Um,
Right.
so yeah, when you guys go to that wedding, it's the red moon
It's the red moon.
wedding. Yeah,
So,
it's just it.
it just happenstance
Yeah,
that it happened on the red
yeah.
moon. Okay.
So it is something that happens every so often. It's not very common. Um, like it's not happening every week or anything
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
It's
I didn't
just
think
because,
so, but I just was
yeah.
curious.
So so yeah, they just they end up going ahead and feasting on them, often feasting on the people that are there as guests. Um, so it's kind of random, just because of the fact that it they're not dumb. They know it'd be suspicious if like people were like, "Oh, why are there so many people disappearing so quickly and all the time?" Like you have to have like some of the parents or some of the family leave and be like, "Wow, what a beautiful wedding," and da 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 da. Oh yeah, like our daughter left with her husband to a different place, or is doing something different now, like is in a safer place, thanks to Crimson. Like this, just they have so much, basically they have so much stuff that they do for like rumor mills to kind of basically not have anyone put all the pieces together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like there's just so many different kinds of stories that they form, and so many different kinds of ways that they go ahead and create, like all these different things to help the what's the word I'm looking for, the people, the peasants, essentially, to be like, oh, there's a better life out there. If we go through the forest, it's not safe. Going outside of that forest, it's not safe. But Crimson, knows where we need to go. Crimson is the one that can help us. Crimson can help us find a better life. She's our protector. She's the one that does all these good things for us. So,
Cool. Hmm. So, wait, hold on. Hold on a second. I was going to say, um, we're also informed, Flora tells us that because there's going to be a ceremony, because, with the red moon and stuff like that, that there's a bigger guard presence than normal
Yes,
at
yes.
Castleton. Or is it a castle and a mansion? I keep intertwining both.
It's kind of like a more so a mansion than it is a
Mansion.
castle. It's just,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, it's just,
And
it's a pretty big mansion, to be honest. That, I mean, it's not like castle status, but
no.
it sure is getting to the point of being a castle one day if it were built more so that way. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, we find out. Um, do we find out about the room where Camilla sleeps before we go in, or do we discover that? Because I have my notes all over the place here.
Um, so what ends up happening is uh, you guys try to get some intel. And so
Right.
you and Mercy kind of stay back because of the fact that like Cheery is a lot more stealthy and Catechus can turn into animals.
No.
So that's what ends up happening. Catechus,
That's the point too. That something kind of happens in the mansion, and I have to kind of like hold Mercy back from going out of the house or whatever
mhm.
because she's
Yeah,
like,
she was like,
"I'm get there, I'm gonna get there." And I'm like holding her back.
yeah, because she was just like, they don't know what they're gonna do. I
Yeah.
can't rely on them. Why should I rely on them? I'm the one that can handle things better than them.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. That was kind of fun.
Natasha's so funny.
She's always fun. Aunt Tasha's always fun to go up against in like little complex situations. When she's playing Mercy.
Yeah. Yeah. She's always finding some kind of fun. And then she's always just like trying to smooth talk. She smooth talks, but then she talks shit too.
Right. Right. For sure. For sure.
So yeah, so you guys essentially you and Mercy wait. You have to hold her back. But like Cheery ends up going down into the basement and essentially finding the maze, but not knowing exactly what it is. He's just in that center room.
Right.
And then Catechus finds the secret room where there's the
Mm-hmm.
portals, including to Yesmarthri's realm.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he goes in,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically this realm is just rivers and rivers of blood, constant sounds of just screaming and like what sounds like someone biting, like a bunch of vampires just biting into the skin and draining the blood of so many people. And then there's like a little bit of a road from where the portal starts. It goes to like a house. Catechus never makes it because he gets so frightened he goes straight back
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And then he reads a bit more about some of the different I think he finds, well, I shouldn't say he reads because canon wise
We find out later that he
he
can't read.
reads, he looks at the pictures and decides what is possibly happening. So he finds out that there's a bunch of other books and stuff, and as he's looking and everything, um Eduardo comes in
Right. Right.
and he
Well,
kind of fights
hold
him.
on. Let's tell them too. So, like the portals that are in this room, there's mirrors that are portals, and it's Adinolito, Resvan, the Dark Woods, and then Anagram, which is the Yasmar Threes
Hmm.
thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone turn the
Um,
page.
so yeah, so he goes ahead and fights him, is able to kind of escape a bit. Eduardo's like intruder, intruder, intruders. There's all sorts of someone here, and that's when it's kind of like alarms for Cheery too. He's getting out of there like even though you guys tried to be stealthy, it didn't end up that way.
No, no. Um, we learned too that there's a minotaur with an amulet that we need to kill. Oh, is that?
No, that's in the there's a picture in that center room that
Oh, that's right. Okay,
that
okay.
Cheery is looking at that shows all the different gods, and it shows the two main gods, Sheldas and oh gosh, hold on one second, I've got it here. Sheldas
Well,
and
let's check
Artsatl.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I told, the way I wrote that name down, it looks like it says XCLOBS, but because my O and my I'm sorry, so instead of XCLDOS, it looks like XCLOBS because my D and my O are so close together. Like, how do I say that name? Okay, that's not what that
Yeah.
says.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah, I mean it basically is him kind of looking up and seeing this like picture. Just I mean it's a very elaborate, almost not like a Sistine
It's a
Chapel
mural, right?
kind of thing, but yeah, it's like a mural on the ceiling.
Right. Yeah.
Um
So
so
I wrote that the Minotaur in the middle, so Sheldos in the middle, Behavior is dying, or in the mural. Then there's Meridia, Yasmar 3, and Baylor in this mural.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I wrote.
Which is relevant later on when you guys go into the maze because it does pertain to the different sections. But yeah,
Hmm.
you guys essentially take some time for some intel and everything, and I mean, yeah, I think finding that secret room kind of helps to understand a little bit more about how, you know, she's able to travel out without having to travel through the town. People essentially think that she's always there, but she's not. She's off doing her own shit, finding a new place essentially to probably cope, like to try and drain again because she's drained so many places. I mean, it was when she marries, that's the wrong paper. When she marries Andras, uh, she goes to his place,
Alec,
which is Alicastor.
Castor, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just a frozen castle now. Um, and then they ended up going to Tholdruck, and it's a mountainous town,
Mm-hmm.
but they ended up taking over, bleeding the place dry. Uh,
All I wrote down is I wrote that place, and then because of that, all I put was nothing concerns us there.
yeah, then they went to Nakerovo,
Yeah.
which is a coastal town on an island, but Meridia essentially intervened, and so Yasmar 3 came to Camila, told her to leave. Then they went to Resvan. Resvan is the vampire town. Um, and then after Resvan was Veralanid.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and she built up her team as the years went by.
Yeah. Well, and we now know. I mean, anybody that's watched any of our recent like sessions, we now as our characters know where her next um, place is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So at this point, we didn't, of course.
Yeah.
So then we kind of get ready to go in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is probably a good place to stop going into the party. I know I could sit here and talk about
One of my favorite
all
thing
day.
ever that made.
All day.
I could talk about that minutes all day
I
long.
could. I could talk just about this whole story all day long. By
Yeah.
the way, I didn't realize I had this in my backpack, but if, I don't think we've ever shown uh an actual picture of, no, maybe we have, but of Crimson. Um
Mm.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There she is. Oh,
As close as to my vision as I could get. Yes.
did I give you, the really good, like the really nice dice that I have, like
Yeah.
the pretty ones? Did I give you those? Okay, because two of them ended up here with me, so you don't have a full set.
That's fine. As long as I have a D20.
Yeah, you have a D20. Because I was looking through my dice stuff and I'm like, oh, those two didn't make it. And I don't remember which ones. I think it was a D4 and I don't remember what
Yeah.
the other one was. I was
Um,
just like, oh, sorry, I just
you're
thought I'd
fine.
make sure about it.
You're fine. Apologies again for our sound input and all of that. We're still kind of working things out, this whole streaming from afar, and then also just getting that sound issue kind of fixed. So we'll try and work on it a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. This time, at least both of us could be heard, even if Ashley sounds a bit robotic.
Sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. All right. We'll talk. Ashley, you and I will talk about a time and see if Fahad is able to do maybe like an actual live session. Yeah, and if not, then maybe we can have another recap session because you're desperate for this maze. So yeah, we'll go ahead and end it here. Um, I'll try again to update. I think I updated it yesterday or 2 days ago, saying when the streaming was. Otherwise, I'll try and update it, put it on Discord. I've been updating Discord weekly, the link,
Okay.
so that way it's still new and fresh and everything. So yeah, otherwise, that's about it. And thank you. We will be seeing you guys soon. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.